Good evening and welcome to this edition of Tok Piksa. Rabaul Town may be internationally known for Japanese bunkers and other World War II relics, but locally it is known as the leading province in PNG in the production of copra and cocoa. Recently it has even ventured into manufacturing virgin coconut oil. But since it gained provincial status, East New Britain has witnessed several earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, resulting in the resettlement of many of its people. While this has become a norm for many who live in Rabaul, the district has been challenged not to call on the national government every time a volcanic eruption occurs. Instead, they are now being encouraged to see the existing volcanoes as a blessing and to adapt to the potential disaster in their district. In our first report for tonight, reporter Thekla Gunga takes us to the events celebrated in commemorating the 20th anniversary of the 1994 twin volcanic eruptions, a sign that Rabaul Town and its people have come of age insofar as living with volcanoes is concerned.
Rabaul is the former provincial capital of East New Britain. It was once known as the Pearl of the Pacific until it was entirely devastated in the 1994 twin volcanic eruptions.
Na time all money calling Mr. Britain. Isa la ting long Rabaul click long it blongot pinisa. Time we call Mr. Britain o Gazelle Peninsula Rabaul click long it blongot. So it's something very special. Long ari blongol man where usati got association blongol one time. It's a beautiful place blayuni Rabaul.
The town itself is home to over 50,000 people. It is believed to have the highest number of international families living in it compared to other New Guinea island provinces, most of whom have Chinese, Japanese, Australian, and German origins.
That's why na Rabaul na blongin na morgatamay sabi.
The town has a colorful history that dates back to the 17th century with the arrival of missionaries. It was then colonized by Germany and was later taken over by Japanese soldiers during World War II. But the town is famous for its history of volcanic disasters that started in 1994.
You all know what happened to yourselves and your families that day and in the days immediately thereafter, resulting in Rabaul district people being accommodated in care centers before resettling them in settlements.
This September marks the 20th anniversary of the volcanic disasters that changed people's life forever. In the last 2 weeks, the very town that was covered with volcanic ash 20 years ago played host to several significant events in the provincial calendar. These events commenced on September 10th with a dusk service and closed with an interdenominational service. With the theme, Dasi Come, Dasi Go, Miplastap, the 2-week celebrations were described by many as a fortnight of well-planned and executed events and received huge support from the business houses, the district administration, and the rural community. The events were organized by Rabaul District Administration through its Events Council Committee. It kicked off with a rock concert that featured famous ENB singers like Nathan and Matalau Nakikus and the 3 remaining members of the original Barricade Band. They performed some of the best local songs like PNG Unity, Me No Marit Yet, Ples Radas, and Stubby. The event attracted people from as far as the Gazelle and Kokopot districts. The highlight of the anniversary celebrations was the 2014 Frangipani float. This was one event that brought residents out of their houses and onto the famous Mango Avenue to witness this annual event. Close to 200 vehicles took part in this float, all displaying their specialties through their creativity. Rabaul Egmag and RP Limited had the highest number of vehicles, each representing the different business arms of the companies.
The community organisations and the people of Rabaul, thank you very much for coming to our Frangipani Festival 2014. Party man!
The organising of the fortnight-long events reflects the combined efforts of the district administration, Rabaul Historical Society, the rural community, and the business houses in Rabaul.
Susie and your gang of helpers, you did not stop on Independence Day. You continued until today again, and I can see that there is just no stopping for you all. That's how you are enjoying life in Radas.
But at the anniversary commemorations, much was said on how the district had risen to the status it is today. At the close of the celebrations, the acting district administrator, Maraken Uvano, spoke strongly on adaptation measures the people must take to live with the disaster.
We have learned enough to cope with volcanic disasters. We cannot continue to cry for government assistance every time there's a volcanic disaster or earthquake or whatever. And vice versa. The government cannot continue to react to natural disasters every time there is a volcanic disaster. It is about time everyone needs to be aware of the potential, these dangers that you may stop long enough. I think may message tok blongoda. You must aware that we have a disaster here and it is here to stay. But we have to adapt. God gave us we need, and God will talk to all disaster. We need to do something about it. God only has the solution. I'm talking with me that we have to start thinking. We have to start planning. You mean you can stop nothing? Volcanic disaster, you try the government. Oh, government kirap no buti ilong na bawag lawag man. We have to start planning with disaster.
Uvano described the adaptation measures as coping strategies and added that Rabaul is located in a disaster area. He said people must learn from experience and change the way they live. Meanwhile, the local MP, Alan Marat, who was not directly involved in the preparations for the celebrations, was overjoyed to see all events successfully conducted. He stressed the importance of working in union and said, while Rabaul district welcomes people from all provinces to work and live there, they must not take advantage of the peace and freedom enjoyed in his district.
With the right spirit of cooperation between business houses and organizations on one hand, and the people of Rabaul district and the East New Britain province generally on the other hand, I just know that individual business houses and organizations have chipped in one way or another during this more than 1 week of historical Independence Day and twin volcanic eruptions commemorating gatherings.
There were no crimes reported, and many predict the 2015 float will be much bigger with more companies entering the float.
You're watching Tok Piksa. Daru High School, now secondary school in the Western Province, has never received much attention. and there is not much that can be said for this once well-established education institution. The school's facilities are so old they have already been condemned. Dormitories for both male and female students are overcrowded, and classes have been moved from classrooms to other buildings within the school grounds. In this next story, Judith Kasek takes a look at Daru Secondary and its deteriorating infrastructure after 50 years.
The only secondary institution in the South Fly district of Western Province, Daru Secondary School has been providing education for the people of the province for 50 years. However, not much can be said on the current condition and situation of the school's infrastructure. And as Principal Guido Ludu told me during an interview, nothing has changed over the past 50 years.
There's no change to the buildings that you see around here. Right, they're there, especially the dormitories and the classrooms. New infrastructure, we may have just had 2 or 3 over the years. But the conditions of these buildings are well below standards.
There are 16 classrooms in the school. However, walking into one is like walking into an abandoned building with nothing but graffiti-filled walls and broken windows. Most of the classrooms are not used today for fear that they would collapse during classes. Over the years, the school has been slowly falling apart, and Mr. Ludu says all the buildings in the school are condemned and not fit for people to use. Teachers' houses and classrooms, however, are the worst affected. Most of the classrooms do not have lights, proper desks for students, or chalkboards for the teachers, and some are on the verge of falling.
20 classes, and we've got about 16 buildings to accommodate those 20 classes. 6 grade 9, 6 grade 10, 4 grade 11s, and 4 grade 12s. And you'll find that because there's shortage of classrooms, so we've gone into specialist rooms.
Almost all the buildings are from when the school first started in 1964. And due to weather conditions and human interference, all of these buildings are slowly withering with age, thus resulting in classes being moved from the classroom to other buildings within the school that can hold the weight of the students and also provide a teaching venue for teachers. Most of these classes have been moved to specialized buildings in the school, including the mess, which has been going on for a couple of years now.
And you'll find that because there's shortage of classrooms, so we've gone into specialist rooms. We got 2 classes in the practical skills building, which is metalwork and carpentry. 2 classes in the home economics, the showing room and cooking room, all occupied. We got 2 classes in the mess. So 6 classes, no rooms in the school. So what happens to the practical lessons then? There's no practical lessons.
Teachers' houses are also an issue. Almost all the houses need to be demolished and new ones built, as the existing ones are not fit for habitation. This is one major factor that is forcing teachers to leave the school, as there is no accommodation for the teachers and their families. One teacher who wishes to remain anonymous told us that he slept in one of the condemned classrooms while waiting for the school to provide him with a house.
We got 30 teaching positions. We got 20 houses to accommodate those 30 teachers that have applied to this school. One factor why teachers are leaving is because there's no house. They don't want to share houses. They don't want to be single teachers when they're in fact married. And so we've been losing teachers over the years in regard to this. It's a very chronic situation because some of these houses are so run down that maintenance is hard. You'll have to demolish the building and erect a new one.
And it doesn't stop there. The school dormitories, on the other hand, cannot cater to the increasing number of students attending the school every year. Dormitories for male and female students are in dire need of renovation. Most of the dormitories do not have lights, and students are cramped in a cubicle. Head boy Nathaniel Bisa said students share a cubicle or room so small that it is suffocating for them, especially when a student is trying to study.
In our cubicles, most of the things that our students are living there, it's not really, there's not enough space for students to breathe and do their things, the private studies, there's no proper tables and all these things. What the students do, they squeeze into one cubicle area, 3 students in a cubic. It's not enough space. It's just a little cubic. There's not enough space for students to stay there and do other things, do their studies or whatever.
Since there are no lights in the classrooms for them to use at night for studying, the other option is the dormitory and the 1 or 2 classrooms that have light. He said there are no proper beds for the students. Most of the beds are falling apart and there are no tables for studying. Now this scene is similar to that of the female accommodations in the school, and Vice Head Girl Kasa Mabo said the living conditions and rundown facilities are not helping the students' health and the drive for them to learn.
You can see the dormitories around us, how we are living. The dormitories conditions are not good. Our ablution blocks too are not good too. Toilets too, we see that health is really down in Daru Secondary School. And in many times during the week, more than 5 times, we take students to the hospital more than 5 times, I will say. Because as you can see, there's no good health, especially typhoid on the health side, sicknesses that occurs in us, especially typhoid. Typhoid is it's a very dangerous disease in Dara High School. And also our condition in the dormitories too, they are not really good. How we are sleeping, we are bunking up 3 to 4 students in 1 cubicle. And there's no enough spacing. So dormitories too, they are not that really good. And sometimes we find it hard to do our studies, no enough space, no lights too. For 50 years, the member did not do, our parliamentarians did not do any good thing for Daru Secondary School. This is now the 50th anniversary of Daru Secondary. So we are looking for a development, but still we are way behind.
Not much has been done to help the school, and although pledges have been made and money committed to the school, there has been no tangible development.
You're watching Tok Piksa. World peace was the language that brought all world and religious leaders together at a peace summit held recently in South Korea. The World Alliance of Religions Peace Summit was organized by an NGO group in South Korea known as Heavenly Culture World Peace and Restoration of Light International. EMTV's Bridget Komatep was among the world media contingent who captured the event. She files this Tok Piksa report.
It was a global event that attracted people from all walks of life, including 36 world and religious leaders from 28 countries. You don't get to see warring nations to attend a gathering, let alone standing together in one place. However, this peace summit united all.
Former President of the Republic of Ecuador, Her Excellency Lupe Rosalia Artigas Serrano.
At the center of the summit was the chairman and founder of Heavenly Culture, World Peace and Restoration of Light, Man Hee Lee, and chairperson of International Women's Peace Group, Nami Kim, otherwise known as Maria Kim. They were instrumental in advocating for peace, often visiting countries and meeting with world leaders to spread the message of peace. Chairman Man Hee Lee was a war veteran. Having survived the Korean War, he knows the devastation caused by wars and now advocates for world peace. Prior to the main event, the world media from over 100 countries were briefed by the organizers on what to expect from the Peace Summit.
However, he pledged his life to make peace and also...
The wave of emotions around the cessation of war and world peace was felt by those who attended. The opening ceremony at the Seoul Olympic Park Stadium was colorful and spectacular. The card performance by students from various schools stole the show with their ingenious displays. Since the inception in 2012, Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light, or HWLP, has been working to put an end to all wars and bring peace between war infections. Their efforts have been supported by the International Peace Youth Group and Women's Group.
We're longing for world peace.
It's simply heaven on earth principles where HWLP advocates to promote heavenly culture on earth, and it was highlighted further at the Peace Summit. Where leaders embrace peace and want it to be part of their lives. For some of them, peace is a luxury in war-torn areas of their respective countries. They also discuss the reasons that war cause, like different ideas, beliefs, religion, and the greed for power to rule. Proclaimed at the Peace Plaza in South Korea in 2013, the Declaration of World Peace has captured the attention of the world over. Chairman Man-hee Lee, in all his addresses, highlighted the need for world leaders to come up with an international bill to end all wars. Only these will hold world leaders accountable for their actions. The Women's International Peace Group, led by Nam Hee Kim, and the International Peace Youth Group also expressed similar sentiments. As women and youths are mostly affected by wars, these groups have advocated for world peace. Papua New Guinea was represented by Constance Kawaba, the SRC Vice President for UNITEC in Leh. She was privileged to attend such a global event.
Are also standing and collaborating, joining our hands together for them, so they know that they can have hope, that there are people for them, they're standing for them, they're with them through what they're going through, and that in due time it will all be over as soon as we get this message across to everyone across the world.
The Peace Summit made everyone realize that peace can be achieved. They sealed their commitments when they all signed the World Peace Agreement. It's a small but a significant step towards world peace. In closing the historical week-long events, all participants gathered at Seoul City's Peace Park. It was here that youth leaders from the different countries pledged their support for world peace. Then everyone participated in the Peace Walk to formally end the World Peace Summit.
강복 대표님을 모시겠습니다.
Peace Summit was described as a garden whose fruit of wisdom will nourish all who seek to achieve peace and whose seeds will sprout across the world, bringing the beginning of a new and peaceful time for all who live on earth, something which is achievable if and when everyone lives in harmony.
That's Tok Piksa for tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the stories. In our next Tok Piksa program, we'll look at the life of rural pilots and the effects of the liquidation of Lutheran shipping on inland Morobe. Until then, it's good night.